So, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. Thank you so much, first of all, for joining this CIA Part 3 orientation program. Let me just quickly set out the agendas for today's session, everyone. While I can see a lot of familiar names in the chat box, but I still feel that there are a lot of people who are probably joining and looking at this session series related aspects for the CIA for the first time. So, the way we will be doing the next 1 hour of coverage would be everyone, we will be the agenda would be for today's session would be a quick introduction about me. We'll move on to understanding a broader view of what is CIA course, what are the steps to become a CIA, what are the benefits of being an IA member, what is the cost of this exam, what is the registration process, what are the part-wise key topics, what is about the CIA exam, and how does it overall help us from a professional service standpoint of view. We'll get into the study material, what is our approach, what are the global audit standard that has come up new, how is it impacting our examination, and also we'll talk about what is more in terms of the part 3, how many units are there, how the content has changed, what are the things that we are going to learn, what is the schedule that we are going to follow, and what is the target to kind of clear the part 3 exam. So this is all that's going to be covered in the next 1 hour, everyone. Let me just straight away get into the quick introduction, everyone. I am Arpit Garg. I am a chartered accountant, a certified employer, a certified risk management assurance professional, as well as a certified information system auditor. I qualified CA almost 1.5 decade back, bring over 1.5 decade of experience in risk assurance advisory domain. That's the core domain that I've worked all throughout my career. Um, Earlier started my career with Sani Natarajan in Behel. That is where I completed my articleship. After qualification, moved to Genpact TRC, was there for a couple of years, then moved to a EY. Back in 2020 is I established a firm called Rasman Consulting, which is where I co-founded this with some like-minded partner. And we have been throughout since then in risk assurance advisory. I've been also taking CIA sessions for last 5 years almost. I'm the faculty for I India, I Bombay, um, um, as well as was erstwhile a faculty for VGLD. Latestly in December 24 is when we have launched global professional certifications, and that is where I'm mentoring for the CIA program. Everyone, I've been got sufficient and adequate exposure to help you and guide you with the right skill set that is relevant in today's market from a risk assurance advisory domain. So be it IT risk, be it the overall internal audit piece, be it ICFR, data analytics, project management, third-party risk, enterprise risk. I've almost got hands-on experience of working on these kind of projects across clients, across sectors. So I think that's one of the interesting way wherein our session series that we conduct is not just limited to passing the CI exam, but also to talk about more about the industry insights that are relevant and critical for you all as professionals to kind of leverage it in your day-to-day work. Fortunately, I've got a chance to work almost every state in India, being got exposure to work back in US, Dubai, and other APAC regions, for example, Indonesia, Philippines. And that's very, very brief about me, everyone. Um, Moving now on to in terms of what is the CIA program all about. So everyone, CIA is the one critical flagship program of IIA, Institute of Internal Auditors, that is globally recognized. I'm sure you all being part of the forum today, part of this conversation in the orientation program. You have done well research about this program. So I'm sure, and many of you may be halfway already through the CIA program, right? So CIA is certified in auditor. Just for people who are not aware of this, it is one of the most recognized flagship program of IIA globally, and with the growing demand, the growing need of employed professionals, CIA is the most recognized in the risk assurance advisory domain, and will be not just helpful for people who are aspirants for this, but also people who are experienced or who are already at senior positions to kind of embark on this journey to kind of uplift their career and be at the right position, bring up the right credibility for your teams, for your stakeholders, right? If we have to look at some of the global surveys, if you look at it, everyone, based on the global surveys, 94% of the chief audit executives globally believe that CIA is better from an employed standpoint of view over other global courses like CPA, CISA, CFE. I mean, I'm purely talking about internal audit and not maybe from an IT audit or a fraud examination standpoint of view, which is where information system audit or CISA and CFE would play a better role. Overall, if we look at it, 94% of the CIA believes that CIA adds more value, and they would probably prefer CIAs in their team, and that's most of the people prefer. In fact, the annual pay packages are better. People who are CIA versus non-CIAs globally that we see. So that's the relevance of doing this kind of a program, everyone. If you have to look at the step-by-step process of becoming a CIA, everyone, there is some entry requirement. One has to be a minimum bachelor, a graduate to pursue this program. And once you enroll for this program, if you're going for a part-wise route, you have 3 years to complete this program overall at an overall level. And there is a minimum requirement. There's a minimum requirement. If you're a bachelor, you should have minimum 2 years of experience in risk assurance advisory, and if you are a master, you should have minimum 1 years of experience in the risk assurance advisory to complete your CIA program and get the certificate. People, the important element of experience is this is an exit requirement and not an entry requirement. So if you are just a graduate and if you want to start your CIA journey, it's time you can do it. There's no problem in starting it. But before you even you can pass all the exam. There's no stop over there. But once you have completed all your exam, you have to also submit your work experience proof. Either your superior supervisor or any other CIA qualified has to approve that you are having the minimum required experience that have been mentioned as per the CIA certification handbook, which is basically 1 year for master degree and 2 years for the bachelor degree. Once you do that, your certificate is issued by the II Global. Um, Everyone, once you basically enroll for this course, and I'll talk about a step-by-step process for that also. Once you do a CIA registration, you generally get 3 years to complete this, and once you have registered, that's where you can appear for any of the part in any of the series for this CIA program. So you can either appear for part one, part two, part three in sequence in a chronological order, or you can, if let's say if you're starting right away, and if you want to do part three first, you can do part three, you can do part one, you can do part one, whatever you are ready, you can just go ahead and maybe start that part. There is no mandatory norms that you have to go from part one, then to part two, then to part three. You can start anything at any point of time. Another important and critical thing, everyone, is that you can always register for your exam at any given point of time. The only thing that you have to make sure is that as soon as you pay for your examination fee, you get 180 days for scheduling the exam and appearing it. If you don't do that, your entire amount goes loss on loss. I'll be talking about everything. Don't worry, everyone, in terms of what is examination fee, where can we appear, all about that as we move forward. But that's the exam window. So once we have paid for the examination fee, we get 180 days to appear for the exam. And if we don't do that, then the entire money goes off, is lost in a way. Everyone, CIA exam is an MCQ based exam, so you don't get negative marking, but there is a significant high percentage to clear this exam. So each one of you has to score above 80% to clear either of the part one, part two, part three, any one of it. You have to clear in each part 80% and above to clear this exam, which is not an easy target. I will be very honest, it's not an easy target. It's a difficult target to clear it. But saying that makes that makes the exam more interesting. That makes the exam more valuable in the external world, and that's why people who are qualified CIAs are considered much more valuable considering the difficulty level of this exam. Everyone, like I said, this is 100% MCQ exam. There's no subjectivity or a essay-based questions. There's a simple question with the four options, and you have to choose the best one of the given options. There's no negative marking, but you need to you need to score above 80% to clear it. In case anyone fails this exam, everyone, there is a 30 days window, cooling off window, after which you can appear for the exam at any given point of time. Not just it ends there, everyone. Once you have cleared your CIE, you have to also maintain your CIE certification, which involves a renewal cost every year, as well as you need to also complete 40 CP hours, including 2 hours of ethics training on an annual basis to maintain your CIE certification. Especially if you're practicing into employment, which means that if you're part of the employed profession, you have to do 40 CP hours on a annual basis to maintain your CIE certification. And of course, I'll touch upon the how do we do these CP hours and all as we move forward. But that's basically the steps to become a CIA. Everyone, I'll just move forward to kind of pick it up. What is the step-by-step process? So everyone, if you're new to this course and if you're new to what is IIA, the first thing that you need to get it done to become a CIA is take your IIA membership. Everyone, if you take your IIA membership, and this is a step, it's a very 10 minutes, it's a very simple process, maybe a couple of minutes that takes to kind of complete your IIA membership. So you just need to click on this website, which is IA India website. Once you click in there, you have options to kind of apply for a renewal, apply for new membership, and as soon as you click there, you have to fill in some of the fundamental details, your name, your address, and then your organization name and other details. And once you have once you have filled the form, if you are the first time person, if you are registering for the first time, you have to pay 4,500 plus GST as a membership fee plus 2,000 as a first time registration. If you are someone who has already probably was a member some years back and you are now probably renewing it for the first time, there could be some restatement fee that may be levied, but everything is online. So you can just click on the IAV India website. If you are already a member and you want to renew it, you have to pay 4,000 plus GST. If it's a drop case, there could be some restatement fee that may be required. That may be a nominal amount. You have to put your membership, and if you're a new member, you have to just pay 6,500 plus GST, and you become an IA India member. One thing that you all need to remember is, everyone, this is the IA India membership fee, and this needs to be paid on an annual basis. So every year you will have to pay this fee. This not just helps you to discount in terms of your CIA certification cost, that we will talk about the difference between a non-member versus a member cost, but it also helps you to be part of the bigger community, that helps you to be part of the network, be it on LinkedIn, be it on WhatsApp, wherein you keep getting so much of learning, training related posts from IA initiatives, from IA board members across chapters, as well as there are a lot of job opportunities that are shared on these groups. So it's a win-win from all the point of view. You can reach out to your fraternity members. You can take the benefit of as much as possible in terms of trainings, learnings, knowledge sharing. A lot of it is the benefits of the INA member, other than the certification fee cost, which I'll be covering, which is a straight away benefit for you all. So once you pay for the IA India membership fee, everyone, then the next thing that you get is a global membership ID. So it's not that the IA India gives you your ID. It's a IA Global that issues you a membership ID, which takes about a week or two to receive a global membership ID on your registered email address. Once you have that, you will get a CCMS login ID and password. People, CCMS is the Certificate Candidate Management System. This is where you go and this is the link. If you go and click in there, you will basically get into your CCMS account, and that is where you have to update your profile, and which is where you will again, because everything you have already mentioned on your registered while you were applying for membership, you have to just upload your proof of identity, proof of education, and other related documents to complete your profile, and pay CIA registration fee, which goes for up to this is about $106 fee that you pay for CIA course. Once you have made this payment, everyone, the time period that starts getting counted for 3 years is after you have made this payment. So it's not from the membership fee that you have paid or the membership that you have taken. You can take an IA membership and don't even pursue the CIA. That's also completely fine. But since you are all here to talk about CIA, I'm just telling you, if you are a member, there are a lot of benefits out of it, because of course the whole certification cost goes low. And once you've made the payment of the CIA course, which is $106 just for enrolling for this course, that is where your 3 years period starts. So you have to complete your whole CIA program in 3 years time, everyone. And once you are ready for your respective exam, let's say you have gone through your entire Part 3 session series and now you're ready, you can always make the payment, and then you can take any dates within 180 days. And it's not that the time of payment you have to enroll for it. So you can just make a payment today and keep looking for dates that are available. And whenever you're ready, let's say 2 months down the line you're ready, you can then also enroll for the schedule for your exam. It's not that you have to schedule the exam the very day you have made the payment. So once you have made the payment, you have 180 days to register the exam. And everything that you can do is by logging to the CSMS account, wherein you have multiple tabs. There's a tab of Access Pearson View tab, which is basically your testing center, which is where once you've made the payment, you will see a link which says that, okay, schedule the exam. You click in there, you choose your address, and nearest all centers will show, and you can just select the center and look out for the right dates, timings that are suiting you, and then schedule your exam. So that's the step-by-step process for enrolling for the CIA program, everyone. I hope this is very, very clear to everyone. I'll take a pause here and would like to see if anyone have any questions so far. Everyone, any questions so far if we have? Can I quickly see if you are all with me? Yes or no? Everyone on the chat box? Can I quickly see everyone on the chat box? Yes or no? All right, great. So I think we are all good. I'll move forward, everyone. The next step is the savings for the IA India members and people who are joining globally. Also, this may not be as relevant for you. You will have to reach out to your respective chapter to see if there are any discounting pricing. But since the larger audience is India-based, I am requesting you to please focus. Maybe your case, it would be a global membership cost that may be different uh, from the India member price. So if you look at everyone, if you're a non-member, let's say if you're not a IA member at all, and if you want to pursue CIA program, this is going to cost you, the application fee itself is going to cost you somewhere $240. Then the part one fee, the part two fee, the part three fee, this is going to cost you somewhere about $445, $415 each for part two and part three. But and if you're a global member, let's say if you are based out of, and if you're based IA US membership or a IA Singapore membership or maybe IA Dubai membership kind of a thing, then your fee would somewhere be around this unless your local chapters have agreed to something different. But a global membership fee is basically $122 for an application fee, $310 for a part one, and $280 each for part two and part three. But if you look at the special pricing for IA India, everyone, the including tax price that we see is $106, which is a much lower fee as compared to being a non-member or a global member. And even if you look at the part-wise fees also, it is relatively lesser as compared to the other global members, which is $274 for part one, $248, which is roughly $250 each for part two and part three. So together, if you see everyone as an IA member, you save somewhere around 700 plus dollars as compared to not being a member, which is going to be around a 1515 being a non-member. So that really saves a lot of amount for maybe multiple years of membership fee gets paid if you're pursuing CIA just by being a member and completing the course versus not being a member and then pursuing the course, right? And like I said, there are so many initiatives that IA India takes, or maybe other chapters take, even the global members, their respective your chapters take, which you can be part of the community, you can be part of the conferences, you can be part of the training, which will really help you a lot from your professional learning, growth, network, connection, all of that. So I think we're all clear in terms of what are benefits of being IIM member. I'll straight away now come to the course curriculum, everyone. So if you look at it, everyone, the course content in terms of, and first I'll be talking about, because a lot of people come from the old syllabus background or have fair idea about what was there in the old syllabus, as well as we'll talk about the new syllabus, everyone. So if you look at it earlier, the erstwhile section was structured in such a way. If you look at old syllabus, it was part one, part two, part three. Part one was all about essential of employing, which was foundation aspects. Part two is all about how do we do audits, which is more around the practice of employing. How do we go and do audits? And part three was all about business knowledge for employing, so which was considering, which was including sections like business acumen, IT, information security, and financial management. So, and if you look at the content size, everyone. Part one was about 8 chapters, part two was about 10 chapters, and part two, three was about 16 chapters. The reference to these chapters and content is linked to the GLIM content people, which is an authorized study material that all of the people generally refer globally to the GLEM content, and the structure of the slides that you see is in line to the GLEM content, and it is a summary version of that. So, like I said, part one is essential of including, which had 8 chapters, everyone. Part two was 10 chapters, and part three is 16 chapters. Since today is the day for the part three orientation program, I would like to stick to part three more, everyone, and not on part one and part two. But just for your knowledge, part one was all about basics, fundamentals, wherein we used to learn everything in terms of the foundation of internal auditing, aspects like code of ethics, core principles, definition of internal auditing, and various standards. And other than that, we used to study topics like GRC, governance, risk management, and control, and fraud-related aspects. So that was all in terms of part one. Part two was all about how do we do audit. So it was all about the different types of audit in terms of assurance and consulting, and then we used to learn about how do we go and do audit. So we used to learn and start from preparing a risk-based audit plan to going and doing an audit in terms of planning and engagement, performing the engagement, and communicating the results. So that was all about part two. And then part three was all about the other aspects, which is understanding the organization, environment, strategy, what is multinational companies, globalization like topics, what is project management, data analytics like topics. And then it was all talking about IT, information security, and financial management. So that was the old structure, everyone. With the new syllabus coming up and getting implemented from 28th of May, everyone. So the new syllabus is already there for the part-wise syllabus, which is part one, part two, part three is now undergone under the new syllabus, everyone. So now from 28th of May 2025 is when the new syllabus was launched, and all the exams are conducted in the new syllabus format. I'm sure all of you would have been aware that there are new global audit standards that were launched last year in 2024 beginning, wherein we had 1 year period to kind of implement them. And from this year, January 2025, all the new global audit standards are already applicable to the organization. And with that context, the CIA syllabus and the certification program has also been upgraded. from 28th of May 2025, all the CIA new certification exams, respectively, it is part one, part two, part three, is going to be held in the new syllabus format, right? So it is no more something that is upcoming. It is already in process. It's already been implemented, right? Now let's look at it. What is in the new syllabus, everyone? So while we have spoke about the old syllabus, and I'm sure people who are familiar with it, this is more for you. People who are probably looking at the orientation program for the first time, this may not be even relevant for you, because you straight away has to look into something which is a new syllabus, right? So let's look at what is in the new syllabus, everyone. So if you look at new syllabus, everyone, the part one, part two, part three is much more easily structured. So part one is again fundamentals. Part two is again about employee engagements, that how we do employee projects. And then it is the third one is employee function. So if you look at it, the whole business, the whole section of part three is has become a lot easier now, because if you see earlier in part 3 we had 16 chapters, but now in part 3 we have only 6 chapters, everyone. So there's a significant reduction in terms of the course volume of part 3. But saying that, lot of that was there in the part 3 has moved to everyone to the part 2 related sections. So if you look at part 2 is now have become much heavier. So earlier it was 10 chapters that were there. Now if you look at it in part 2, we have 14 chapters that are there. And part one is to larger extent same, but of course it is much more structured in terms of the new global audit standards as compared to the erstwhile scenario. So in part one, it is still foundation of internal auditing. Then we have ethics and professionalism as a topic, GRC as a topic, fraud as a topic. If you look at it, GRC and fraud was almost the same that we have studied earlier. And then the foundation of implementing is where we have the new global audit standards that has come. Ethics and professionalism is where the new global audit standards has come, which really impacts in terms of our learning and the approach towards the exam. Right. So because of the new global audit standards, there's some approach change that we will, of course, we'll talk about a little bit more as we move forward. Um, but like I said, part two has now become heaviest. Lot of section that was on the IT piece, financial management piece, has been moved to part two under the engagement planning itself, that during the engagement planning you need to consider all of these risks. And likewise, some of those touch points are also there in the risk-based audit plan, which is now part of the part three, which is where you need to consider emerging tech, cybersecurity, and other risk when you are preparing your risk universe. So few things have moved under the part three, few things have been moved under the part two also. But saying that, part two, three is now much easier, and that's one of the another reason that why we are starting part three, because we know that a lot of people have already cleared part one and part two and just waiting for part three to clear and complete their CIA journey. On the other side of it, it is a easier part to kind of start it and clear it in a shorter span. So it's a win-win from all the angle, everyone, and that's where we are starting part three. And there are a lot of people who want to expedite their journey, and they want to pursue two parts together. So picking up part two will be much heavier, and so we thought that part one and part three will be a smooth rider, and it will be a quicker win to complete both the parts in a shorter span of time. So I think we have already launched a part one session series, which is almost a month now, wherein we are undergoing part one session series. At the same time, we have also launched part three, which is for the larger benefit of the group who are almost in the last leg to kind of clear it. They clear it as well as for the people who are now probably planning to start, they can straight away start part three and get that cleared in a very short span of time. Are we clear so far, everyone? Are we clear in terms of the larger size of the content? Of course, I'll get one step each later to talk about new global audit standards. What are we going to learn in the part three? What is the approach? What is the course content? What is our approach? We'll talk about everything as we move forward. But I want to take a quick pause and want to see that if you are all still with me and you are all clear with what we are talking about. Are we all clear? Can I quickly see GTG or yes on the chat box? Everyone, can you all please type yes and yes or GTG on the chat box? So Srinivas is asking, can we change IA chapter to any point of time during the year due to location change? I would request Srinivas to reach out to Chanchal. Chanchal is in fact on the call. Chanchal, if you want to drop a separate message to Srinivas on this subject, please feel free to revert that in terms of the chapter change. All right, great. So I think all of you are typing in as a GTG. So I am taking it as good to go, everyone. We'll keep moving forward. Now let's talk a little bit more about part three, employment function, everyone, the 6 chapters that we are going to learn. But before that, let's try to understand what is the new global audit standards. And just before that, like I said, everyone, this is an MCQ paper. So part one is a 125 MCQ exam. Part two and part three is 100 MCQ paper. There's no negative marking. You get almost like 2 hours to appear for your part 2, part 3 exam, and about 150 minutes, 2.5 hours for your part 1 exam. So relatively lesser time as compared to other global courses. And of course, a much higher percentage, which makes the exam little tougher. But it's very interesting and exciting when we clear it. So people part 3 is a 100 MCQ exam, which you have 120 minutes, just 22 hours to clear it. You get your result then and there, and there is no break that is available in this exam. If you want to take a break, you are free to take the break, but you have to go through the entire security scanning process, which may take some time of yours. So it's generally preferred to not to take a break, and you should be able to complete all your 100 MCQs in 120 minutes. There's no negative marking, but you need to score above 80% to clear the exam. So that's the exam structure, everyone. In terms of the course structure, if you look at the course structure, it covers almost everything. It covers the new global audit standard. It talks about different types of audits that we do, be it operational audit, be it compliance audit, be it third-party audit, be it there are topics like CSA, there are topics like ERM, there are topics like IT risk, there are topics like ISO, there's topics like data privacy, there are topics like cybersecurity, there are topics like ESG. So people, CIA as a course curriculum is really, really nice, and it covers almost everything that we do on the ground. And that brings to a very, very interesting slide, which is very, very exciting to look at in terms of what are the different service lines that we can work across. So everyone, if you look at it, this is the service line, which is very, very interesting. If you see today, when we talk about risk assurance advisory domain, or be it employee domain, we're not just talking about one internal audit kind of a service, but we're talking about more than 30 plus service lines. So if you look at it today, organizations have their own ERM teams, they have their own TPRM teams, they have their own cybersecurity teams, they have their own GRC teams, they have second line wherein we have risk management teams in place, they have fraud forensic teams, concurrent audit teams, IFC testing team, SOX team, employee being bread and butter, compliance team. There are special team these days on ESG, data privacy aspects. We can pick up projects which is around the business automation, business excellence, re-engineering, SOPs, automation. There's so much that we can do, and all of these service lines get open if you are a CIA, and if you're part of the larger risk assurance and advisory domain, which is very, very interesting, very, very exciting to be uh, part of the part of this fraternity that brings so much of opportunity in the external world. Because if you see today, everyone, and if you start looking at the LinkedIn, there are so many job opportunities in this domain that we are all short of people. Every organization is precisely short of people in this domain, and there's so much to learn, so much to explore, so much to value add. And that gives me a lot of charge uh, to kind of call it out that it is a very, very growing, very, very emerging, very, very demanding domain. And there is no drop that we are seeing in the long term. It's only going to increase with the change in business environment, with the change in the org structures, more complexities coming in, more data technologies coming in, digital transformation happening. This is just going to add more and more work for risk consultants, risk experts in the larger world, everyone. So that's all about why this course is important, everyone. I'll straight away now move in terms of what is the content that we refer for this course, everyone. So if you look at it, we refer GLIM, which is globally recognized and acceptable. So as part of the course, we refer to the GLIM content. Generally, it is in digital format. So if you enroll for this course, and if you've already enrolled, you would be getting your access codes for GLIM, which is where you will have your digital books in place. Generally, the access is limited to 18 months of time, and once you from the day of activation of the codes, everyone, and you get access to GLIM. So you have to just click in here, let's say GLIM question bank, and once you click in here, you can basically look at the question bank as well as you can look at the digital book. While it log in, I'll just show you, everyone, how does the GLIM look like, so that you have fair idea on what are we referring to. So just 1 second while it is just logging. If you see, everyone, I have just clicked on the part 3 itself. So if you click on here, create study session, you can straight away look at different units. So there are 6 chapters in the part 3. You can practice even at a topic level. If you see, you can even pick at the topic level and practice all these MCQs. So it is almost similar to the exam pattern. So if, let's say, if you want to pick up the first topic, you need to just click in next. And once you click in next, you can just straight away you can choose the MCQs also in a standard or a random order. Once you do that, let's say I'm choosing it on a standard order, that is where you can just and you can maximize the session, and then that is where you can just go ahead and practice the MCQs, everyone. So let's take an example. I'm doing it finish, and once you do that, everyone, you are going to get into the MCQs, and that is where you can practice the MCQs. um, for each unit. And then as soon as you submit an answer, I'm just submitting randomly. So let's take an example, whatever I'm choosing, based on that, it will give me the answers and overall grade also. So this is how it is structured. People, if you want to refer to your question book, digital book, you can just click in here, click on the digital book, and you can just download your whatever content that you're referring to, right? So this is how the Glim software works, everyone. You just need to log in, go to your respective part, click in here. If you want to apply, practice test bank, click in here. If you want to look at your digital book, click in here, and you can just click in here and see the content of the respective unit. So we refer to Glim, everyone. This is how you get access to Glim. And then, of course, there are PPT slides, which is helpful for concept building. There are summarized PPT notes, which help you for the last minute preparation. And there is also something as a GPC, Global Professional Certification LMS. I'm going to show you that as well. So if you click in here, generally what happens is there is a LMS, which is in the name of Global Professional Certification, everyone. This is where you are going to, let's say, log in. To your global professional certification account. Once you log in here, this is where you will see your enrolled courses. Let's take an example. If you're enrolled for the part 3 and something like this will come in, let's say if you, and this is for the part 1 that is going through. So all the videos that we are referring to is going to be uploaded here under the orientation, like all the videos are going to be here, which is under the section of recorded classes. Likewise, all the PPT slides will be here. All the MCQs will be here, as well as any other referral documents that are important. For example, in the part 1, there are referral documents like charters, audit charters, employed competency framework. All of this you can see at one place, and you can have everything at one place to practice. So this is how it is done. All the sessions are recorded, everyone, and you get access to the recorded session. You get access to the PPT slides. You get access to the MCQs that we practice, which is beyond various study material, and then the other referral documents, so which gives you a lot of insights in terms of how do you prepare for the exam. So this is all about how do we approach and the content that we are going to refer. Is there anything else that we need to refer beyond what you've shown in Glim and what you're showing on your LMS? The answer is no, everyone. Everything that we have covered in the class is more than sufficient. It has given lovely positive results, and I'll be showing you some of those testimonials towards the end of the session, but that's all it's going to be there. All right. So are we clear in terms of the content? Are we clear in terms of what is the study content that we refer to? Can I quickly see yes or no on the chat box? Everyone, are we clear so far? Can I quickly see, are you we sure? Are we clear so far? The answer is yes. Krinal is asking, hi, Arpit, can we ask extension on 3-year window period to CIA? Krinal, we can do that on only on medical grounds usually. Otherwise, also there is some paid cost to extend it by beyond 3 years. So there is a cost that IIA Global charges to extend it by one more year. You can just log into your CCMS account, apply for extension, and you can pay the fee. If there are genuine medical grounds, you can also place a help request. And most of the time, we have seen that on medical grounds, the request is also sometimes accepted, and which is also where they can give you an extension of 1 year period. CK is asking, hi sir, I've completed part 1. Is it better to do part 3 before part 2? CK, it's completely on you, but yes, part 3 is a easy click looks like because of a lower volume of chapter, and that's why we have launched this course, and it will be good to kind of complete part 3. And likewise, we are also starting part 2 next. That's our plan. So it's completely fine to go with part 3. I think most of you have otherwise tapped yes, so I think we are all clear in terms of what is the content that we are going to refer to. Let's move forward, everyone. So what is our approach for preparing for any CIA part exam, everyone? If you look at it, anytime when we start any session, everyone, we get into the clear perspective on what we are going to learn. And I'll show you how do we do that. Then we get into the what are the key topics in the unit. We also cover 100% of the GLIM material. So we read word by word in the class. We take so many examples for conceptual clarity and see what can be applied on the field, on the ground. It's not just a bookish learning, but also how we can use it on ground. And that's where when I was showing you the LMS, it was not just limited to, if you see, it is not just limited to some bookish knowledge. We have actually looked at how employee charters are prepared by the global organization like Standard Chartered, Tata Chemicals, and other stuff, right? So it is not just limited to the book content, but it also get into even the practical way of learning. In fact, in the part 3, we have a topic called risk-based audit plan. That is where we are going to actually see how we prepare a risk-based audit plan, right? It's not just learning that, okay, risk-based audit plan is based on performing risk assessment on your risk universe and just learning it bookishly, but we are actually getting into understanding how do we do a risk scoring, how do we present a process scorecard, how we can propose a risk-based audit plan, and how does it look like. So it's not just a theoretical learning. Of course, once you see things, then it's when you are able to memorize it for longer, and that not just help you for the exam, but also to drive you to become a better professional on the ground. So we do a lot of that, everyone, and then we also have things to remember section after each slide, each unit slide. So that is where you kind of remember the key pointers, and then whenever we begin a new session, we kind of look at the old learnings also. So we revise in each session what you have learned in the previous session, and we practice lot of MCQs in the class, right in the class, and not just leaving you on your own, but we practice a lot of MCQs in the class and then discuss them also so that you learn it. And then of course all the sessions are Q&A based, so you can ask as many questions as you want. So that's our approach, everyone. I think we are very clear in terms of approach, and I think nothing is beyond it. To be honest, everything that was possible for anyone and everyone to kind of succeed, not for exam, but also from an overall professional standpoint of view, have been category been upbuilt over the last 5 years. And I think everyone who has done this has loved it and enjoyed it and have come up with flying colors. And that's why this becomes a full package and a full appropriate approach to kind of follow things in order and help you to embark your journey. So that's in terms of our approach, everyone. Now I'm getting a little bit more in terms of the content because I know a lot of you are excited, and and many of you are familiar with what I've talked so far, and you're actually waiting for knowing what has got really changed and what are we going to learn in the new syllabus, right? So now let us straight away get into the detail of the content a little bit more for the part three. People, again, I'm going to show you something first for the old syllabus and how the new syllabus has changed. So if you look at the old syllabus, there were 16 chapters, like I said, and the 16 chapters were split across the first few among the business acumen, which was all around the strategy, planning, performance measures, globalization, organization behaviors, leadership, business process, data analytics, project management, contracts like TIM. So this was all part of business acumen. And then we had IT related topics, which was all around database, application development, which is on the SDLC cycle, change management, IT infra, which is more on the technical side, like network devices, like firewall, gateway, bridges, and a lot of other technical stuff. And then it was also covering IT control frameworks, information security, and then the whole section of FM was there, which was from Unit 10 to Unit 16, which was including financial accounting as well as management accounting. So there was a huge lot of content that was there in the old syllabus, everyone. But if we look at the new syllabus, new simple is very, very simple, very, very straightforward. And people who've done part one, part two earlier, for you, in fact, part three is going to be little easier because a lot of it has moved from earlier part one, part two to the part three of the new syllabus. Now let's look at it, what is in the new syllabus. Everyone, new syllabus is just structured into 6 chapters, right? So there are just 6 chapters. The first chapter is employed function. The second chapter is employed strategy and communication, which contributes together 25% for the exam. Then we have employed plan as a single chapter, which is where we learn how do we develop a risk-based audit plan, which contributes about 15% for the exam. Then there's something called QAIP, Quality Assurance Improvement Program, which earlier we used to learn in the part one. That has also moved to part three, everyone, which contributes another 15% for the exam. And then there are some topics on engagement results and monitoring, which is on the follow-up side, and engagement results and monitoring, which is on the communication side of side. So action plan and communication, which is basically on the follow-up and the communication, which contributes 45% for this exam. So this is as simple as it is, everyone. 6 chapters, which talks about function, strategy, planning as a risk-based audit plan, QAIP, and engagement results and monitoring. That's how the exam is structured. Very, very simple. Now let's talk one step more ahead and understand what are we going to learn in each of these units, everyone. And in terms of the overall global audit standards, what are the different standards we are going to cover in the part three? All right. So what are we going to cover in the part three? What are we going to now get into see? Now what are we going to get? Now what are we going to see, everyone? We are going to see what are the new global internal audit standards that are going to be covered under what? What are we referring to, everyone? Can you all please type in on chat box just to see everyone is still with me? Just to see everyone is with me. Everyone, we are going to get into understanding what are the new global audit standards that we are going to cover in the part three, right? Lovely, everyone. So before that, I think there are a couple of questions. Let me just solve for them also. Prinal is asking now, Arpit sir, without medical grounds, can't be asked for extension for 3 years window? For example, if I've cleared 2 parts and one part left in the circumstances with IA, will I give after 3 years? So generally, Prinal, like I said, it is either on medical grounds or you will have to pay for your extension, right? So you can take this discussion separately with me, but that's the normal ground that the way it has been extended. So extension, I understand you have completed two parts, but if you look at the candidate handbook, certificate candidate handbook, it is you, and that's why when we started, if you remember, we've started that once you pay that fee, right, of CIA application, that is where you have 3 years to complete all the parts. But like I said, there is still there was still a provision wherein you can pay some amount and extend it for a year. So just go in your CCMS and log in, and you will find that way. Arun is asking, currently some of the people students are in part one under classes with you. Is it advisable to parallelly start part three? Arun, this is very individual choice question. So if you think your time permits, if you have zeal to kind of complete it faster, please feel free to join part three. Also, otherwise, all the people who are already as part of the part one ongoing session series is there. If you want to park it and if you're not in rush, after completing part one, part three, we are going to start part two, which is going to be somewhere in August. Once we have completed all of this, and once the part two is done, we'll come back again on part three. So you don't have to worry. If you don't want to pick it up now, you can pick it up later also. Or if anyone has to pick it up later, they can do it. Of course, the recordings will be available. So these sessions will keep happening. It is just for the purpose of people who want to expedite, because there are a lot of people who want to expedite and they don't want to wait for next many months to clear their full CIA journey. So people can do back to back because it looks like a less loaded chapter, and people can appear and complete both part one and part three by the month of August. So a lot of people have that zeal, and we are also putting up equally efforts to help people to clear it faster. So if you think weekends are good, you can put more efforts. Others can put efforts, then of course you can attend both and clear it. If you think no, I want to focus on part one first and then come back on part three later, then also it is also okay. Recordings will always be there. The new sessions will be coming up in the future. Anytime it can be taken. There is no additional cost. There's nothing, there's no bottleneck there, everyone. All right. I hope I've answered that, Arun, for you also. And I think Ali is asking, sir, without any exposure to part one and part two, is it good to start from part three? Absolutely, Ali. Don't worry. Anyone who comes out the part three, anything that is relevant from the part one, part two will be covered in part three again. So don't worry, because there are people who have probably completed part one, part two long back, and now they want to do part three also, right? So all of that becomes again relevant. So anything that is relevant for part one, part two will be covered in part three again. So you don't have to worry, anyone, that okay, I'm starting with part three, I've not done part one, part two. Will I face difficulty? The answer is no. Everything that is relevant, any single word that is relevant from for part 3, it will be explained again in part 3. People who have understood it earlier, it will be a quick revision for you, but it will be critical for part 3 to clear, so we will have to revise that. And that's what we follow in all the parts, right? So that's why any part can be picked at any point of time. Sunil is asking, kindly provide a brief on part 1 and part 2 weightage as well. Sunil, since this is the orientation program, is only focusing on the part three, that is handy. If you want to look at the part one, there is already a orientation program video on the YouTube. So just go on YouTube, type in Global Professional Certification. You will find an orientation program video there, and you can just click in there and you can refer to the weightages there for the part one. Part two, I'm not sure if it will be there, but you will get a broader view on the part two. Part one, at least for sure, you will get, because there's already a part one video already there. Orientation program video is already there. All right, so you can look at that as well, Sonal. Harvinder is asking, hi sir, what is the criteria of marks weightage in this exam? Is it uniform or differ from question to question? Harvinder, this is a scale-based score exam, right? So there's no clear definition of the of the marks weightage for the exam. Some questions may have an extra weightage, some may be having lesser weightage, but that's not clearly defined. Can you get a visibility? Can I get a visibility? The answer is straight away no. It is a scale-based score. I've seen people scoring 599 also. I mean, which is one of that question, which is one marks. There's people who are scoring 597, 596 very frequently. One has to score above 600. So is there a question of 3 marks? Is there a question of 4 marks? The answer is probably yes or no, right? So there's no clarity as such. It's called as a scale-based score. And I mean, our target is just to make sure that people don't even get a score, they get a pass score. So how the results are published, everyone? If you pass, you get pass. If you fail, then you get a score. So our target is everyone to pass. No score. We don't want score. We just need pass. Okay, Harvinder. So just to let you know that there's no clarity on this. It's skill-based scores. It's more called as skill-based score, right? And there's no clarity in terms of which question has what weightage, that you will never be able to get to know. Okay. Arun is saying currently some of the people, I think we have covered this. I wish to travel with you on the classes. Lovely. How long the access of? GC-LMS will be given. Santosh is asking how long the access to GC-LMS will be given. So Santosh, our I think you mean what is the global professional certification LMS access will be given. So so Santosh, generally the idea is to support people till the time they clear it. So it's not just limited to like how long the access will be given. The idea is to support all the people till the time they clear in. The only access that is limited is the GLIM access, which is up to an 18 months time period, right? So once you activate your codes, the license is valid for 18 months. But when it comes to LMS access, generally it is given to the extent of till you clear the exam. So you don't have to worry. I mean, there could be at a beginning, there could be some views that could be limited, but if people need more views or if people need more access, if people need, let's say they are not able to clear and they want the later access to the latest classes that are happening somewhere later months, all of that support is going to be provided. Don't worry about that. The idea is to help people to clear the exam, and the idea is not to restrict people to get access to anything, but of course there are certain controls that the organization has built to avoid exploitation, but not for the legitimate cases, right? So of course one has to respect each other's uh, uh, problem, right? So for you all as a student and as a member, you need access for your support to make a career and clear this exam. At the same time, organization want to protect their content, and so those controls have been enabled. But at the same time, like I said, access would be supported and all the necessary support will be provided till you clear the exam. So don't worry about that. All right, either in form of recorded session, either in form of the live sessions. Whenever the new live sessions get started, everyone can join in. That's not a problem. The only restriction that happens on the access to the LMS is once you clear the exam. So once you clear the exam, that is where the access is restricted then. All right. So I hope I've answered Santosh your query. Krinal is saying, hi Arpit sir, apart from GLIM and your question, is there any study material advisable like Hawk? Krinal, generally what we cover in the class is more than sufficient. We don't have to go really more than that. We have seen successful results, um, and anything and everything that is relevant for the exam are being brought into the class sessions, and you don't have to really worry beyond it. It will unnecessarily just kind of bother you more and more, which may not be advisable and relevant. All right, so Mitesh is saying, can you please share details on the session timings, etc., and by when we'll complete part three? I'm going to cover that, Mitesh, towards the subsequent portion of the slides about the schedule, about the target, how we are approaching. Just give me some time on the schedule. We have subsequent slides on that where we'll cover it. Are you saying, Arpit? Hi, Arpit. How can we get to know how much we scored in our exam? We get only pass-fail notification. Kindly suggest, as I've already cleared part one, part two, and want to know my scores. So, Avya, like I said, you should be glad that you have passed, right? So actually, you don't get a score if you're passed. You one get a score only if they've failed. It's when then they get the exact result and they get areas of improvement, whether you need significant improvement in a particular section or you need moderate improvement or how well have you performed. But that's only in case fail. If you pass, there is no score that is being published by IIA. So that's the standard format. Okay. All right. Santosh is saying, yes, thanks, Arpit. Questions and answers can be requested from uh, IA in case of failure. Hope I do not need this. Sorry, I'm not clear, Santosh. You're saying thanks, Arpit. Questions and answer can be requested from IA in case of failure. Hope I do not need this. No, Santosh. IA will not give any MCQs. I will not give the results, right? So no questions will be published, no answers will be published, right? So you have to appear for the exam, you get the result, that's it. And not necessarily the next time when you appear for the exam, you will see the same question. All of you appearing on the same day, same questions coming in? No. People will get different MCQs, even if you're sitting in the same center, right? So it's not the same structure of the course that comes every time. So every time there would be different questions that may be coming in, and you can't ask for the questions or answers. All right. That's Santosh. That's for you. Shriji is saying, are these global standards in Pathway different from attribute performance implementation previously studied, or are we going to learn some new global standards in addition to the uh, old one, right? Um, so I'm going to cover this. Shriji, just give me some time because I'm next thing that we're going to talk about is the new global audit standard. So I'll cover this question there. Richard saying, can I simultaneously take classes for part one and part three? Richard, like I said, yes, you can take it. If your time permits, definitely you can take it. The idea is to help people to clear both the parts as soon as possible. I know you're being part of part one sessions also. If you are really having time and if you have the entho to kind of do both the parts together, lovely. It will be lovely seeing you all in August, clearing both the parts, part one and part three, and expediting your CI journey to complete in less than 5, 6 months time. All right. Great. I think I have sort of answered almost all questions. And Ali is also asking, sir, participating in webinars, CBE content provided by AI would be any relevance while undergoing this course and or written exam, as it's good to involve in this after course completion. Absolutely, Ali. I think it is the later it would be better because for the exam, definitely it's not going to really too much add value in terms of the direct context. But yes, there are certain few special sessions that happens, like for example, audit report writing. For example, sometimes there are sessions on the global audit standards, which generally I only take. And then there could be sessions which could be on fraud related topics. So if you're really interested, you can just take those sessions. It will add value. But do you want to overburden yourself thinking that, okay, if I do it, then only I'll clear the exam? That's not the right approach. Everything that is relevant for the exam will be covered in the class itself. So you don't have to worry that I have to take some external trainings more to clear this exam. Okay. All right, great, everyone. I think I've solved for everyone's in terms of all the queries. Can I quickly see the word yes on the chat box? Are you all still with me? And good participation, everyone, by the way. Can I quickly see yes and GTGs on the chat box? Are you all still with me, everyone? Can you all please type in yes, GTG? Lovely, everyone. I'm going to cover that. Mohit, I'm going to cover that. And the schedule and all, I'm going to cover that. Don't worry. All right, let's keep going, everyone. So I think we've talked about the weightage. Now let's talk about a little bit more in terms of the global audit standards. Everyone, earlier in terms of the old IPPF, if you look at it, we had mandatory guidance which had four things: definitions, core principles, standards, and code of ethics. The new global audit standards is not structured the same way. The new global audit standards is structured in terms of domain principles and standards. The structure of the new global audit standards is 5 domains, 15 principles, 52 standards. The 5 domains are: everyone is the purpose of internal auditing as first domain. The second domain is ethics and professionalism. The third domain is governing the employment function. The fourth domain is managing the employment function, and the fifth domain is performing the employment service. It's as simple as structured. If you look at, see, conceptually, if you look at it earlier, also including attribute and performance standard, we had 52 standards. Now also we have 52 standards. But saying that, the standards have also been much more clear, everyone, in terms of what was there earlier versus what is now. So earlier, if you look at it, and earlier, if you look at it, we were only having we were having duplicacy also, everyone. So something that we were studying in code of ethics, again we used to study in standards, right? For example, objectivity is something that we were learning in code of ethics, then again we used to learn in the standards. Likewise, there were so many other topics which are getting repeat here and there again and again, which was not as structured. Also, if you look at it, in the previous standard, it was not clearly telling it that, okay, what you need to do in order to confirm a standard, and in order to conform to the standard. That is a very important thing that has been added to the new global audit standard, everyone, which is evidences of conformance. So in the new standard, in fact, if you see, there are clear examples of what you need to kind of maintain to prove that this is the standard that was required and this is what you're following. And that's the beauty of the new global audit standards. Not just that, everyone. In fact, it has also added board roles, senior management roles, which are relevant for them to take, which is clearly defined in the new standard. So these are some of the new developments, which are the bigger wins of the new global audit standard, which is much more structured, clearly outlining the requirements, clearly outlining the board and senior management responsibility, and clearly outlining the evidences of conformance. Are we clear? What is the change in the new global audit standards, everyone? So this is exactly what we are going to do in the new syllabus, right? So we are going to learn the new global audit standards. Now for the part three, everyone. Now for the part three again. But before that, let's try to understand the new global audit standards are split into 5 domains. What are the 5 domains? Can you all read that? Everyone, can you all read that? Now, can you unmute yourself and just read it? What are the 5 domains? This is important for you all to know. Can you all just read out the numeric part? The first domain is
Purpose of
purpose.
purpose of
The
internal
second is
auditing,
ethics
Ethics and
and
ethics and
professionalism,
the third is
professionalism, governing the
governing the
internal
internal
audit
audit
fourth is
function,
function,
managing the
managing
internal
the
audit
and fifth
internal
is.
function,
audit
performing
function,
internal audit services.
performing internal audit services.
So if you look at it, these are the 5 domains, and then there are 15 principles. If you look at the 15 principles, these are the 15 principles just mentioned below. If you see, the first domain doesn't have principal standards, it's independent domain. Then we have ethics and professionalism, which where we have 5 principles, which is integrity, objectivity, competency, due professional care, and confidentiality. And then how do we govern the function, which is where we talk about independence, we talk about things like charter, mandate, authorization by the board, overseen by the board aspects. Then managing the employment function. People, this section, the whole section, when I say section, as in this whole domain and the principle is all that is covered under the part three. So where is it covered? Can you all say that? Section four, the fourth domain, which comprised of 4 principles, which is plan strategically, manage resource, communicate effectively, and enhance quality. This is what we are referring to. Is it part one, part two, part three? This is all that we are referring to as part 3, right? So part 3 is all about this. So this is exactly where we are going to focus in the part 3, and then we have the final everyone final domain, which is where how do we perform employed services, which is in the fifth domain. So part 3 is all about covering the managing the employed function. All right. Now, this is complete domain. All right. So whole of fourth domain is something that we are going to cover in part 3, everyone. That is one. Second is there are few more standards here and there that will cover from the other domains, and I'll show you what are those in the subsequent slide. So let's talk about it, people. So ethics and professionalism is the second domain, which has these 13 standards. If you look at it, these five principles include these 13 standards, which is in the integrity we have honesty, ethical expectation of organization, legal ethical behavior, objectivity we have few things, competency we have few things, due professional care we have few things, and confidentiality we have few things. If you see that new code of new global audit standard is much more structured, everything is clearly defined at one place, right? Can you feel that? Can you feel that, everyone? Yes or no? Yes. Can you clearly see, okay, purpose, and then within ethics and professionalism, it is so well structured now, and every standard is then linked within this also. So it's not now anymore here and there. It is very much more structured, is what I was referring to. Everyone, if you look at the third domain is governing the employment function, within which we have three principles, and within which there is something called external quality assessment. So this external quality assessment is something that we are going to refer in the part 3 under the QIP topic. Likewise, everyone, the whole domain 4, like I said, the whole domain 4, which is planning strategically, managing resources, communicating effectively, and enhance quality. The entire this domain is going to be covered in the part 3 under the 6 chapters. And then among the domain 5, everyone, again, since you remember, the last 2 units is all about communicating results, yes or no? Communicating results, action plan, and communicating results in terms of communication, yes or no, everyone? Are those the last 2 units of the part 3? Yes or no? Yes. So all of that is going to going to include some aspects of the last domain, which is performing launch service, which will include topics like recommendation and action plan in audit reports, engagement conclusion, final engagement communication, confirming the implementation of recommendation or action plan, which is more around the follow-up piece. So this is also going to be covered in the part 3. So if I have to summarize once again for you all, if I have to summarize everyone once again for you all, everyone, out of the 5 domains, the entire domain 4 is your part 3. Can you all say that? The entire domain 4 is what? The entire domain 4 is your part 3 CIA part 3
Pathway.
exam. All right, CIA part 3 exam is entire domain 4. And then other than that, what more you learned? You also learn external QA under the QAIP topic from the domain 3. Additionally, you also learn from the domain 5 few standards around conducting engagement work and communicating results as part of your last 2 chapters of the part 3. So this is all that we are going to learn from the new global audit standards that are going to be applicable for the part 3 exam. Everyone clear in terms of the coverage that we are going to do in the part 3, at least from a unit level, from a weightage level, from the global audit standards level. Are we clear on all the 3 approaches, everyone? Are we clear on all the 3 ways to understand that what are we going to learn in the part 3? All right, great. I'll move forward, everyone. I'll keep moving forward. Now, just little bit more to detail, everyone, is what are we going to learn in each chapter, right? Broadly. So if you look at it, when we are going to start the first chapter, which is IA function, this is where we are going to learn, everyone, under the domain 4, we are going to learn GRC as a topic. We'll talk about methodologies on employment policies, and then we'll also understand the resources part, which is financial resources, HR as a resource, and technological resources. So this is all going to be covered under the chapter 1 of employment function of part 3. When we'll move to part 2, everyone, that is where we'll talk about strategy. That is where we'll talk about coordination and reliance. And that is where also we'll talk about business building relationship with stakeholders and communicating the acceptance of risk related topic. So these are the 4 standards that we'll be covering under the unit 2. When we'll move to unit 3, everyone, that is a topic on the RBIA risk-based audit plan. That is where we are going to talk about employed plan and coordination and reliance, which is where we'll also talk about topics like assurance mapping. Once we have done your unit 3, then we'll move to unit 4, which is where we'll talk about quality of employment function, which is where we'll touch upon the last principle under the domain 4, which is enhancing quality, where we'll talk about internal quality, performance measurement, KPIs of employment department, as well as external quality, which we are going to cover under the other from the other domain. So all of that is going to be part of your unit 4, which is quality related aspect. People, Unit 5 and Unit 6 is all about engagement results. This is where we are going to learn about effective communication, communicating results, error and omission. And with that, we are going to wrap up the entire which domain? Everyone, which domain in part 3? What are we going to wrap it up? The domain
Part two.
4.
Four.
Domain
Four.
4, which is managing the employed function, right? That will entirely be covered under the 6 chapters. Plus, we will also cover few more standards which are covered under the other domains under the part 3 exam. All right, clear everyone. I hope you have got complete clarity in terms of what are the new standards that we are going to cover in the part 3. Now let's keep moving forward. Now moving forward is something that I'll talk a little bit about. People who are not familiar with this, this is more for you. Of course, people who have already gone through the session series, this is going to be something that you already know. And I'm sure you can vouch for how it add value. And you can just keep putting on the chat box if it makes sense to go through the session series in that way. You can put your views there. Meanwhile, people who are new to the orientation program for the first time or hearing us for the first time, everyone, the coverage and the how the class is structured is very neat, clean and properly structured. If you look at it, whenever we start any chapter, like for example, if you're starting unit 1 employed function, we'll talk about what are the subunits here, then we'll get into what are we going to learn into it. So let's say if you are going to get into unit 1 introduction to learn it, what exactly are the topics that we are going to learn? We are going to talk about methodology, we are going to talk about nature of work, we are going to talk about employed administrative activity, we are going to talk about form, content and review of policies and procedures, we'll talk about financial resources, HR resources. Within HR, we'll talk about intrinsic award, extrinsic award. We'll talk about job enlargement, job enrichment. We'll talk about structured interview versus behavioral interview. We'll talk about technology resources, different types, different key consideration for technology. All of that and everything that is underlined, and I'm sure you can see a lot of it is underlined because everything has been handpicked and chosen and have been called out that these are the important topics for from the unit 1 that we are going to learn. Once we have this clarity, everyone, that's where we get into the detail of the subject, and that's where we start reading stuff from the slides first. So, and within the slides also, if you see, there are highlights that have been given everywhere. So if whenever whichever is highlighted is very important for exam and very important for you all to take a note. So all of that is sort of this structured. And once all of these slides are done, everyone, and this is how various slides are prepared, and we practice some of the MCQs on the go right in the class when we are understanding the concept. This is how the MCQs are discussed, and these are all illustrative, everyone. So just take it as in terms of format and don't really get into the content. This is just the format and not the content, real content of the part 3. But this is how first all the discussions are done, and this is how you understand everything from the slides first. And once you have done the slides, once you have practiced some of the MCQs, you know some of the critical words. That's when we get into reading the GLIM content, and that's where we start reading each part, each unit GLIM content word by word, and we also highlight in the GLIM content what is important and all. And once that all is done, people, then that is where we get into things to remember section. And this is how the things to remember is again structured, wherein we underline some of the critical words that you need to remember across various topics. And once all of this is done, we practice MCQs roughly between 30 to 50 MCQs for each unit and discuss all of that. And that's why generally we take for each unit at least 2 sessions. So at least 2 sessions are taken for each unit because we need to first cover the slides, then we cover the GLIM content word by word, then we cover the things to remember, then we cover the MCQs, and then we discuss all of that. All of that is covered in generally, you can say 6 odd hours of effective learning for each chapter, and that gives us lot of confidence on each of those chapters, and that's how we approach our preparation. And I think this helps lot of confidence because nothing goes beyond the class, and it's mostly everything is in the class, and people have to just do some homework or practicing some more MCQs, and that should solve for everything, everyone. So this is how we are structured, everyone. Now moving to the last piece, everyone, which is on the schedule, which all of you were waiting for. So everyone, part 3 is when we start from the next week itself, from 21st June 2025 is when we are starting this. We are targeting it to get it done in 12 sessions. So we are targeting by 27th of July, we should be completing it. The session timings are going to be 11:30 to 2:30 p.m., 2:30 p.m., 11:30 a.m. to 2:30 p.m. So that you have the rest of the day for yourself to kind of revise, utilize for your personal commitments. And our request and suggestion would be if you could target your exam in the next 2-3 weeks of completing of the session series, because that will give you the maximum results, right? So that's the schedule, everyone. And in terms of our pricing, you can reach out to Natik from the team. He will give you, but just to give you a flavor, everyone, if you look at the GLIM content alone, if you go and buy from the market, it is going to cost you somewhere about 500 odd dollars. And if you look at the video lectures of GLIM, then or a little upgraded plan, then also it is the minimum $874, which is roughly about 74,000, plus you pay for currency conversion, plus you pay for payment charges, so much of that. But with global professional certification, you not just get GLIM, but all that we are covering in terms of how do we approach the LMS, everything, and the overall course fee is 49,999, which is 50,000 plus taxes. And for each price, each part, it is 20,000 plus GST is what we are charging. Of course, there is also a cost element that goes from a glimpse standpoint of view, go for all parts versus single part, and that's why that fee difference is also there, everyone, and that's the overall cost in terms of the overall course fee. Everyone, one important thing is the course. If you appear for the exam and if you have to reappear by any chance, it's almost the same fee that you pay, which is more than what we are charging in terms of learning. If you see the examination fees, roughly $250. So if any one of you not able to clear it, you have to pay the same amount again. So choose wisely whether you want to go with preparation or you want to go without preparation. It's completely on you, but this is how we are structured. I'll now move back to everyone a quick video, everyone. So this is where we are the authorized learning partner of IIA. And this is where you can see Mr. Mukundan handing over us as an associate partner learning partner certificate. GPC Global Professional Certification is an authorized learning partner, everyone. You can refer to our website, which is right here, which is where when you click, you can reach out to the website and you can look at the success stories also, everyone. There are a lot of success stories across various conferences that we've seen, be it II Hyderabad, be it IIA Mumbai, and various other events. You can see a lot of testimonials wherein people have um, achieved success with us. And in a very, very short span of time, you can hear out people on this videos. And then alongside, you can also read out a lot of people journey through testimonials. You can read out so many messages that we keep receiving in terms of the feedback that we have seen from the people for the CIA session. So I'm going to leave this with you people. You can reach out through contact page to us. These are some of the events that we have participated across the country, and we have been interacting and been very active with IIA as well. So working closely with them to enhance the value of this course, to enhance more and more members clearing this course. So that's all about us, everyone. I hope I was able to sort of cover this almost on the time. I think we have extended by another 10 minutes, everyone. So that's very, very brief about the entire program. I'll keep the house open for Q&A. I'll move back to the agenda side, everyone. I think I've covered everything that was mentioned here. People on the global audit standards, the applicability is already there. It has already now in impact of your CIA part with certification program, and you all need to align to the global audit standards. I'll keep the house open for Q&A. That's all from my side, everyone. We'll see you in the next week with the live sessions when we get into detail of the content. Any questions, I'll be happy to answer. So class would be on both days, Saturday and Sunday. Yes, Nathan, that's correct. Hi, sir. Can you please repeat the timing of the lectures? It's going to be 11:30 a.m. to 2:30 p.m. Thank you, Nathan, for answering all those questions. So after part three, you will start part two in August, right? Somewhere that, Kernel. It depends sometimes on the moment, but yes, tentatively, we will start immediately after part three, and because by then we'll also complete part one. So part two is the next that we are going to start. That's correct, Kernel. All right, great. I think that is lovely. I hope you all really enjoyed the session. Can I quickly get a thumbs up on the chat box? Did you all enjoy the session? I hope I was able to clear in a shorter span every doubt that was possible, everyone. I've answered almost like all the questions. How soon the video will be uploaded on NMS? Generally, it's on the same day, Santosh, even after the class. It takes some time to get encrypted and all, so it may take a couple of hours, but generally same day it is when the videos are uploaded on the LMS. Lovely, everyone. Lovely. It was pleasure having you all on this Sunday evening. Thank you so much once again for joining in. All the very best. Good luck in whatever you're doing, everyone. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, everyone. Once again, boom. See you all soon. All the best. Good luck in whatever you're doing. See you. Take care, everyone. Good day. Bye bye. Bye bye. Thank you, everyone. Thank you. Thank you so much for this session. Bye.